We're pulling in about $1.8 million a year.
What?
I am in the top 250 YouTube shopping creators in the world.
That's Ben Schlichter, and he's no ordinary YouTuber. He doesn't do challenges or video essays. He talks about appliances and makes a lot of money doing it, but not in the way that you think.
I would say parts, affiliates, and AdSense are probably 80% of $1.8 million.
What would the last 20-ish% be?
Brick and mortar, and then eBay.
In this episode, you'll learn some new ways to monetize your channel that you've never thought about before. We talk about what you're leaving on the table by not using YouTube Shop.
The affiliate rates on YouTube shopping are amazing. Instead of getting 3% on Amazon, I may be getting 8%, 10%, 20% on very similar products.
How to effectively use your videos to sell products.
If you can pair the call out with the product, with the reason for the video, you will have the highest CPMs possible.
And when you should start building your own products.
I started my process with products when I had 4,000 subscribers. You don't need a large audience to find a winning product. You just have to know what your audience is.
Thank you to 1 of 10 for sponsoring this video. What do the economics of the business look like today?
We're pulling in about $1.8 million a year out of our business in Circleville. So the margins on what we do are very, very healthy now. AdSense is robust, part sales are robust, affiliates are robust. I would say parts, affiliates, and AdSense are probably 80% of my 80% of $1.8 million, somewhere around there is what I would hazard to guess.
Wow. And what would the last 20-ish% be?
Brick and mortar, and then eBay, which is where we're going out and purchasing, because we have the infrastructure already set for shipping parts that we're manufacturing or acquiring through distributors and then selling through our YouTube store. That part isn't a huge margin, but it's nice to have extra work for the staff. So my labor expenses on that, my overhead is somewhat low, but I also use it to diversify. I have a very significant process of using YouTube to generate income for my company. I make money multiple different ways on YouTube, with the AdSense, of course, but then the product sales, the affiliate sales, sponsorships, and then I'm using my influence to get business deals for my appliance business too. So, you know, how do you factor a deal where you make a relationship and network with someone entirely because of your YouTube influence that gets you a business deal to buy product for your brick and mortar store? I mean, that's a deal 100% of the way I only got because of YouTube, but it's, you know, the bottom line would show up for the physical business. I need the brick and mortar for the content for the YouTube side of things. So I have to manage some of that, not as effectively as it could be, but I have to manage the brick and mortar side to fund the content creation side, because I'm in a niche where it's not easy to just go out and create as much content as I want. I have to hunt a lot of physical things down to make my content, if that makes sense.
Right. You couldn't just sit here at a desk and tell me why I should buy this specific washer or dryer. It just wouldn't be as compelling as what you go out into the field and actually do in your studio.
Yes. I mean, I have done that and it's been quite effective, but I also have seen the metrics on the back end where if I locked into that, this format, this talking head format, it would be effective for a period of time, but eventually I think it would have diminishing returns, whereas the hand-on tends to have a much stronger long tail in my experience. There's a huge delineation in terms of metric performance that long-term tends to be in the studio where I'm getting very hands-on, and then talking head tends to plateau very quickly.
When did you figure out that this YouTube thing didn't have to just be content and, you know, SEO, getting views on tutorials, but that you could actually monetize yourself outside of even AdSense?
Even before I got monetized on YouTube, I was an affiliate with Amazon. So I was posting links to the products in the descriptions, telling people to do this, even had some sponsorships with some of the Amazon parts sellers. And the nice thing about that was I could see how their products were converting on my videos, or at least in a general sense. So I came to the eureka moment. I see how they're converting. All I have to do is source this product and sell it myself, and I'd probably get a much higher margin than what Amazon's doing, which right now it was 4% when I started YouTube, and it's consistently dropping. And I was able to start that somewhat fast. I had a product that I was very passionate about converting people to purchase because it was a major fix in the appliance industry. So I found manufacturers for that product. So instead of going to a distributor, I started just manufacturing the product myself and selling it on my YouTube channel. I started selling that product in 2021, and it's still within like my top 3 products 4 years later, and still does very well. And the margins are super healthy. And I've been able to use that to establish all the other parts of my e-commerce business.
In your videos below them, you have products in your store. And I see this on some channels, but not that many channels. It seems like something that not a lot of people are really tapped into. And a lot of channels that are tapped into it, it's basic branded merch. You know, it's like, you like our channel, here's our t-shirt with our stuff on it, here's our hat and our coffee mug. Very different approach that you're taking. And I'd love to just hear how that works, how you stumbled upon it, and how someone else should be thinking about the store features inside of YouTube.
What I would say about that is, and the autofocus is going to be horrible, but is it going to focus? But there's a nice little YouTube plaque in the background for YouTube shopping. And I was given that by YouTube because I was a beta tester for their entire program. I was paid by YouTube to introduce that feature on my channel because I had migrated from that weird Square subdomain to Shopify, where I'm at currently. And YouTube partnered with Shopify to be able to allow the YouTube shopping and API to interact with each other, to where I have my own products listed on YouTube shopping. I also use YouTube shopping to run affiliates for other companies on the products that I cannot source myself, that I cannot distribute myself. And that is something that any creator that is monetized in YouTube, I think even now in the United States, if you have the very first layer just before full AdSense monetization, which is the 500 subscriber and 3,000 watch hour requirement, or it's a little bit higher than that. What that does is it allows you to add affiliates to your videos directly natively to the YouTube app. It's in line with like Google Shopping, and it's a very powerful new tool I would suggest every creator use as much as possible. It's very lucrative for creators. Not only did I beta test that program for them, I am in their Shop Star program, which means I am in the top 250 YouTube shopping creators in the world. I started with Amazon, but their rates are not very good. YouTube is kind of creating this, I would call it, even though they say they'll work with Amazon, I feel like it's almost like an island of misfit toys that is not related to Amazon, but it's like everyone else. And the huge advantage with YouTube shopping is, 1, the conversion rates are amazing, but 2, there's a lot of companies that are in the YouTube shopping network that you can pitch products to with that enhanced conversion rate, but the affiliate rates are just really, really good. The affiliate rates on YouTube shopping are amazing, in my opinion. Instead of getting 3% on Amazon, I may be getting 8%, 10%, 20% on very similar products that are at similar prices, because they're not having to deal with the overhead that is encompassing the system of Amazon FBA. And I don't know if you've had any creators that do Amazon FBA on, but that is very expensive and very low margin. Whereas self-fulfillment, like what I do, is much higher margin, but you still need your influence to get those products marketed and sold. And that's where YouTube shopping comes in as just a very amazing experience, I think. I can't say enough good things about the YouTube shopping system, in that I would be willing to go on record and say, as it is right now as a creator, I'm earning as much money from AdSense as I am my affiliates through YouTube Shopping now. And I do very well on AdSense.
I'm guessing your direct sales and fulfillment is higher than the affiliate margin or revenue.
Yes. In terms of the actual profitability for my company, yes. I would say, though, that I am generating more income through my affiliates for other companies than I am my own store.
Well, because you're selling affiliates for like huge appliances, stuff that you wouldn't want to sell and ship. These are like many $100s, if not multi-$1,000 products. So an 8 to 20% commission on these things is pretty serious money.
Yes, I work with Lowe's, Home Depot, Best Buy, and then have direct affiliates with Samsung and LG, among others. And again, those commission rates are anywhere from 5 to 30%.
And when you say that the conversion rates on YouTube affiliates are really high, what's the baseline for that? What does really good mean in conversion rates?
It's nebulous. I hate to say that it's nebulous in that I don't get conversion rate data for YouTube Shopping yet on the front end as a creator. But what I can tell you is I was using affiliates through the links in the description and the comment feed for certain companies, telling people to use them. And then YouTube Shopping comes out and they finally get the partnerships with these larger companies that I had been trying to work with previously. And then I add it to YouTube Shopping, then all of a sudden I see my conversion rates or sales rates double or triple. So it's been quite lucrative in terms of those conversions.
I want to talk about how you effectively get link clicks in a second, but first I want to talk about how viewers can get better at making titles and thumbnails with today's sponsor, 1 of 10. We've tried out a lot of YouTube tools, and most of them seem cool at first, but end up letting us down when we actually try to use them. 1 of 10 is the one that made it into our workflow in these 3 ways, and I'll save the best for last. Number 1, it makes research so much faster and easier. When we want to find video or packaging ideas, 1 of 10's database and search tools help us get outside of our bubble and find amazing ideas from niches that we would have never seen on our homepage. Number 2, finding better titles. We use 1 of 10's new title generator to help us brainstorm more title ideas to start with or refine. And number 3, thumbnail composition. 1 of 10 has a new thumbnail generator tool that will give us really great inspiration for our videos. Just type in the title of the video or what the video is about and hit generate. In less time than it would take for you to open up Canva or Photoshop, you have 4 new thumbnail concepts based on proven viral formats. When you enter your channel, it even pulls branding cues from your existing videos. The thumbnail generator has been a fantastic tool to use early on in our design process when we're still figuring out what we want to do. We then take these concepts to our thumbnail designer and work with them to make the perfect finished product that we're looking for. 1 of 10 makes it so you can spend less time learning new software tools or scrolling YouTube endlessly looking for inspiration and more time actually making videos. The 1 of 10 team is offering you guys 20% off their pro plan, that's the one with these generators, by using the code J20. That's 20% off forever just by using the code JAY20. Thank you to 1 of 10 for sponsoring this video. And do you have any idea whether that the click is more often people clicking the product link in the description or the overlays on the video? Like, how contextual does it need to be is kind of what I'm thinking, because some people watching this, they'll have a typical description where they'll have links to like 10 products on Amazon that weren't specifically mentioned in the video, but they just know people in their audience like those products. If I add those products to YouTube Shopping and I don't explicitly call that product out in the video, do you think I'm still going to get sales from putting that in YouTube Shopping versus just the description?
Yes. My brother, I finally convinced him to start doing that on his Investment Joy channel, on his shorts, where he's getting, 10 million views on various videos. And he started finally calling it out slightly, but a lot of it is unrelated. And the advantage you have with a lot of that is cookie capture, where, yes, they may be clicking on one item, but you're getting that tracking pixel, that cookie for their cart within the next 48 hours. So then all of a sudden you're seeing these huge shopping carts of Lord knows what get converted and credited to you. So it does become a rather effective means of additional revenue for your channel. I'm far more focused on it where I'm calling out anything in the video to try to convert on it because my videos are very focused on on those specific pieces. But then people like my brother aren't, and their conversion rates are relative to their CPM for the short is doing quite well. They may make 10 to 30% of the shorts CPM in additional revenue through the affiliates. Whereas again, in my situation, my affiliates are starting to get closer to 100% of my AdSense revenue. Because I mean, ultimately, that's really what your AdSense revenue is trying to do, is to sell the advertising space to get people to convert, and you're earning 55% of that income. With the affiliates, I'd say the theory is it's a higher margin because you're trying to really attract more interest through SEO and through whatever your content is actually targeting. But even after my 5 to 10% cut of the affiliates, I'm still finding the CPMs to be very close to the long form AdSense revenue that I'm getting on my channel, which I'm talking between $6 and $10 RPM or CPM.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, if I just took a week and said, we're going to go back to the back catalog of the videos that are performing best, and we're going to set in place YouTube affiliates for just some of the gear we use to make these videos, our cameras, our lenses, our audio equipment, our lighting. We're just going to put that in the description via YouTube affiliates. Do you think that would result in a meaningful revenue stream?
I think you would get something off of it, but it would really take you mentioning it in a small blurb, something more of interest.
In the video.
In the video. Yeah, like your microphone, your tumbler, whatever I'm physically seeing, what if, someone wants your lockers in the background. If you started mentioning that, or just something that was in the video, even if you weren't calling it out, you would probably see more sales, I think. Because if someone said, oh, Jay sounds really good on that microphone, what microphone is that? Maybe you wouldn't have to call it out in the video per se, but there's still an interest in it. If you're tagging something that is very relevant in your video, the conversion rates are going to be very poor. But if you have at least something where there's any sort of interest, whether it's called out or at least there's some sort of subtext, you will convert, I think, reasonably well. But the more you call it out, the more focused your content is on it, the higher rate you're going to see on your conversions significantly.
Do you think there's any cost to doing that? Like, if we did just say, like, we're going to take the laziest approach in the world and just tag some of our gear in all of our back catalog videos, do you think that would have some sort of opportunity cost to some other mechanism of monetization?
No.
Pretty compelling pitch.
Ultimately, I would say it comes down to what your payroll would look like to do that. I think it would make sense if you were, invoicing someone at $15 an hour to do that for you for your back catalog. I think it would definitely be worth it. Again, especially if you're seeing your high performing videos that are getting reasonable numbers of views still currently. I definitely think that would work because I did that myself. I did that in hindsight for videos where I realized that I could do more tagging, and it worked. But recently, I refilmed those same videos calling out the products more thoughtfully with YouTube shopping or direct affiliate links in the description, and I'm 5x, 10xing my conversion rates. So if you do a little bit of work in the videos, the impact is far, far greater than maybe back catalog editing. I'm not saying it isn't worth it. It's just it's orders of magnitude better. But any sort of addition to it would be useful. And again, you get the capture of the cookie that if they do meaninglessly click on it, you may not get that conversion on the product, but you may get it on something else because they were going to go shop at Walmart.com anyway. And I've seen that to be effective to where you can see some income come in.
I want to talk about how this new revenue stream impacts your ideation process for the channel. How do you decide what videos you make, and how much of that is driven by this strategy of selling your own products or selling certain high converting, high margin affiliate products?
It's a cyclical process for me. I probably don't have it locked down as optimally as I would like. And I say that because I'm trying to find the right mix of content that will bring people into my channel that will look authentic, that is authentic to my audience, that I'm not trying to pitch anything with, while creating a reasonable amount of content to fund what I do. That has looked differently over the years that I've run the channel, because one year or 2 years I focused exclusively or very intently on products and it worked great. And I should do a lot more products in the future. But then I had so much demand for larger, more expensive products that I had to affiliate that if you look on my channel, I've done a lot more reviews on specific products lately, that are ones that are products that I can't fulfill. And the affiliate income on that's been quite good, excellent even. I'm up 400% from the same time last year on affiliates, which is been an effective pitch for my business. Is it absolutely optimal in terms of my content creation mix? Probably not. But it's some of that for me is the discovery process too. And the advantage that I have with some of the affiliates is I've gone back to the drawing board, so to speak, and I'm asking myself the question of what can we manufacture? What can we partner with that's beyond our current level of affiliates? And I'm finding those opportunities because of the views that I'm getting, to be able to find more opportunities because of the reviews for affiliates for products that are in the YouTube shopping that I'm not directly fulfilling.
What type of content have you seen convert the best to sales from YouTube shopping?
The one that is the most authentic, that reaches the most people. And I know that may be a sidestep on your question, but what I would say is the CPMs are identical between an affiliate of a review and selling my own products. The value's probably close to $100 to $100 to $300 per 1,000 views in terms of gross revenue. Now, whether that's the affiliate or whether that's mine, that's roughly the numbers that I see on a lot of content. The question then, or the challenge, is which piece of content generates more views, one from the other. And then that's where you get into the issues of supply and demand. Is there an audience for this video? Is there an audience for this answer? That's where my discovery process is trying to figure out where the viewers are that I can meet with the content. So there are certain repair videos that I know answer a need that is undertapped in my market. So I make the video. I try to do as much research as I can. And then when it comes to the affiliates, is there not a review for this product? Is it a popular brand? Is it a popular product? Is it up and coming? Am I seeing comments in my feed about this product that I could review? Or am I seeing comments on repairs that I've done that there's a new problem popping up, and trying to figure out if that's going to be the most effective use of my time in the content creation process? And that's something that I revisit and revise every single day as best as I can. I think I'm pretty decent at it at this point in the content creation process, but I need to optimize it better for having more staff and hopefully expanding it beyond where we are currently at, with the channel making, my business making nearly $2 million a year.
When you give a blurb, because it sounds like when you want to tag a product in a video, it makes more sense to do some sort of quick call out to the product and the fact that it's in the description. What does that look like? How do you think about what is going to be an effective call out of a product?
The most effective is making it relevant to the video. If they're watching the video and they have an interest in the product, the conversion rate, even if you don't mention, it's going to be good. If you can pair the call out with the product, with the reason for the video, you will have the highest CPMs possible. Just like asking people maybe for a subscription, I am from the theory that you have to deliver value first. I want to deliver as much value as I can in the video so they trust me and they trust my process. And then my thought is, if they trust me, they trust my process, they'll trust whoever I'm pitching that will sell the product, whether that's me fulfilling it or whether that's Lowe's or Amazon or Samsung or whatever it is. So I try to deliver value first. Sometimes I will pitch it first and then deliver value secondly because I think I'll have the retention numbers. But I always try. I've always found that calling it out matters, but ultimately it's up to your audience that's interested in the video first.
Does AdSense compete with this strategy? Like when you are putting a video up and thinking about where you place your YouTube mid-roll ads, do you have some way of thinking about that where you don't want it to compete with call outs in the videos to products, or are there too many mid-roll ads you could place? What's the interplay here?
I haven't seen it affect any video. I thought it would affect it. I've heard from other creators that when you pitch your own products in certain spaces, it does harm your AdSense revenue. I will say, though, from my experience in this, it hasn't. Maybe it's because I'm focused so hard on physical products, it's different, but I can look at my CPM numbers and my highest CPMs, my highest RPMs, my highest numbers are ones where I'm still calling the products out. There's no differentiation on it, which is something that I'm personally surprised at as a creator, that I expected that to happen, but whether I'm calling the product out or not, my RPMs have been pretty stable. But where I've noticed when I am doing a review on a product or a suite of products in a comparison, the AdSense revenue is higher, and arguably my affiliates are pretty good too, because instead of being laser focused on one product where I may get more money on the product sales of things, the RPMs are still good. But then if I'm giving people an opportunity for a lot of comparisons, it seems like AdSense kind of swoops in and says, oh, these people are engaged in this kind of product. We need to throw a ton of ads at them, even though I'm peppering them with my own affiliates. It seems like it doesn't care.
With YouTube search and Google search being such a driver of traffic, how much do you think about titles and descriptions?
It's everything. My process is I try to come up with an idea for a video. I will run it through SEO, like semrush.com, to try to look at what keywords have high value, low competition, to try to formulate my title. I want to know what not only what the keyword needs to be, but is it even a good idea in the first place to create that video? So that's the first part of my process. Then for the descriptions, I try to deliver value in the descriptions. I use 1 or 2 paragraphs to properly explain what the video is about. Does that help or not? I don't know. But again, I want to deliver value. And then I will start in with my links to the products. So even though I'm using YouTube Shopping, and we've talked so much about YouTube Shopping, I'm still putting links to the products, regardless if it's mine or an affiliate's, in the description and in the pinned comments. It's all extra money. It's helped me build relationships with these companies. And it helps me, if I'm using like Bitly links, it helps me track where people are clicking and where the value is getting derived from. The lack of sophistication in YouTube viewers mean that the more information I give them or the more links I give them, the better the conversion is. Very often I'll have a link towards the product and the comment feed will be, where's the link? Even though I have maybe 3 or 4 or 5 links to that one specific product where I don't know how you couldn't click it, they still ask. And I get that question from other creators a lot. And my statement would be, the more the better. I mean, even almost to the point of obnoxiousness.
Is there a chance of having too many unique products listed per video?
No. I intentionally made a video that was a review for washing machines. I'm going to tell you how many links I have in the description, and then also how many it would mirror on the YouTube shopping system. I'm going to guess about 40 links in this video to different products from multiple affiliates. They're not my own products. So I have 40 links in the affiliates. YouTube Shopping only captured about 15 of them. And that is one thing I will say negatively about YouTube Shopping is if you're looking for affiliates, they're still trying to gather more affiliates to their system. And there are certain things about their API that is not perfect. The biggest struggle I have is if a product is out of stock, it may stop displaying in the carousel because it's out of stock. And sometimes I've noticed that it will drop off permanently. So sometimes I've had to babysit links, whereas a hard copied link in the description is static and stays there forever. But I haven't tried to look at UTMs to aggregate how much money I've made off of it, but I can easily tell you it's my highest performing affiliate video I've ever had, and by a very wide margin. Affiliates are the absolute safest way you can make money as a creator, but the next order of magnitude is distributors and self-fulfillment. And then the ultimate goal, if you have that entrepreneurial mindset as a creator, is to manufacture or find the manufacturer and compile whatever it is, because those are where the highest margins are as a creator. Because, I mean, if you really think about it as a creator, we sell our ads to companies because those ads make them a profit. So they're capturing a lot of the return on, they have to capture the return on ad spend to make it work. So that's what they do to us as creators. So then the question is, what can we do as creators ourselves where we can hopefully encompass all of that margin where it makes sense, like maybe a creator course or that, or creator labs, different things like that, to where you're owning that entire process. That should be the ultimate goal of any creator, is to own the entire process, or at least own as much of it as possible. Yes, it's more work, but ultimately, when you own that process, I think it's very effective, and it's also more authentic because you're not going out there and you're selling someone else's stuff. And not everything can be done that way, but I'm never going to manufacture my own appliance, but I can manufacture the part.
Well, to your point, or to your example, to brands, creators are the distributors of attention. Brands could go direct to that source, which is kind of like their equivalent of going directly to the manufacturers, but it's harder to collect this attention yourself. Mm-hmm. So they go to us as distributors of attention, and they still make a margin on it, but it's a lower margin than if they had their own means of distribution. What is the typical traffic source for your channel? You mentioned in the beginning it was like SEO. Is that still the dominant source for you today?
So for 90 days, here's my channel's numbers. And again, I'm 95% long form content based. 32.1% of my views come from external sources. That's going to be 90% Google search. My second highest form of viewership is YouTube search, and that's 27.2%. Third is going to be suggested videos at 16.3%. And then browse features, this is opposite of everyone else on YouTube, of course, is 15.5%.
What about chapter titles? With SEO being such and search just being such a large part of this, do chapter titles matter?
I think they do. I think when you look at my video on Google search, it comes up with the chapter titles, and it seems like it's free real estate. I will not tell you that I do it every single time. I try to do it when I think I have a video that's going to be a high converting video. But if you look at the retention curves at any of my videos, when I timestamp, you'll see peaks on every single point that seemingly re-engage people. Is it helping me convert on Google search more? I don't know. I haven't done an A/B analysis of videos with and without timestamps. I've tried to get myself in the habit of it. I think it's been useful, but I would also venture to say it's only useful maybe in certain cases where I know people are going to want to get to a certain point in a video for a certain key piece of information. So instead of them fishing around in the video for it, or maybe my fear would be disengaging from the video, that I give them that value alphabetically. I feel that that's why it's useful for me. I've heard people say on Google search that they give you more real estate when you stamp that. I think there's some credence to it because it looks like AI is starting to permeate through Google search to where they're automatically chaptering content without with your consent, because you signed off on it somewhere a year ago. But My experience with Google is if they push that feature with AI in some way, they found that the conversion makes sense. And if it makes sense, then it probably would behoove you to do it if you have the time and bandwidth to do it. I think there are far more important things to do as a creator, but if you have the time to do it and you get in the habit like I mostly have, I think it is useful.
How much do you think the Maytag uniform lends to the trust, or just the general uniform you have on your channel? How much do you think that lends to credibility video to video?
More than I want it to be. May 29th, 2022 is the first day that I put the uniform on because I just thought I thought it'd be funny. I thought it'd be a retention mechanic, and it was, because that was the fastest growing video I had at that time. I think I got 1 million views on that video within 30 days. And it was a comparison of products because I had way too many people ask me what they should buy. So I thought, I'm going to make this video. I'll do this hokey thing because maybe it'll help me get retention beyond the first 30 seconds. I do it. The video does very, very well. And then I think, oh, okay, this worked great. Thanks. And then I go to the next video, which is back to just making repair videos. And then I start getting the audience kind of screaming at me for bringing back the uniform. And from then on, I was branded, whether I wanted to or not, as the Maytag guy. So it's a retention mechanic, but at this point, there's a little bit of audience capture there too. And whether or not that's a good thing, I don't know.
What if you just made like a Ben's Appliances uniform that wasn't specific to Maytag or any brand?
That's what I'm slowly trying to transition to. I say slowly because it requires more intention than I usually have. I mean, that's why I'm kind of wearing this black buttoned up shirt, is eventually I want to go towards something that's easier to put on and take off, just because the logistics of putting overalls on for every video gets a little bit tiresome when you have to do essentially a costume change. Once I get that uniform figured out, I already have a company that will fabricate the uniform for me. So once I get that uniform, I will want to make sure that it's on the YouTube shopping.
I love that.
but there's a different side to that. It's less businessy than you'd think, because I fund an orphanage in Kenya. I'm funding their business development center for tailors and seamstresses.
That's awesome.
And my plan is that Maytag uniform, the Ben's Appliances uniform, is entirely sourced out of that orphanage in Kenya, so I can onshore the product to the United States and use those funds to go back to them and, help them out. So that's kind of where I want that to go.
Is there a certain type of creator that you think is a really good fit for this, or a certain type of creator that you think is not a good fit for this?
I think the creator that this conversation we've had has value is the kind of creator that is focused within a niche where they have a strong core understanding of who their audience is. If you have YouTube and you're at any sort of, I guess I'd say, high level, you do get some certain features like with Brand Connect that let you get a media kit to know kind of like who your audience is. And if it shows that you have an audience that has reasonably high value, or you have an audience that seems to be engaged with your channel, then I think it makes sense to try to figure out what products or services they could be interested in, and then try to figure out if there's a way that you can solve that question or solve that problem or solve that purchase for them. It doesn't make sense for channels that have too wide of a focus, but even then I would circle back and say that I could be wrong about that analysis, because Mr. Beast sells something, but it's the widest product imaginable, which is candy bars. In one way that sounds hokey, but in another way, it's specifically the one product he could sell that makes sense to his audience because he has no core audience. I started my process with products when I had 4,000 subscribers. And my conversion rate for that product I've had for 4 years was great 4 years ago when I had almost no subscribers. So you don't need a large audience to find a winning product. You just have to know what your audience is.
One of the ways to build a robust YouTube business that we didn't talk about today is brand deals. If you want to land more higher paying brand deals, watch this episode with sponsorship coach Justin Moore, where he reveals his 8-step system that helped his students make over $5 million in sponsorships.